Hello, I'm Erin Halvorsen with Rag Rugs by Erin, and today we're going to be talking about something I did a blog on. And after doing the blog, I thought there was a few things that I could have added to it, and also I thought that so few people see my blog in relationship to how many people view my video. I thought that maybe it was worthwhile sharing and comparing some different types of rugs and what goes into making a rug as far as the thought process, because I've done something, but not recently, a little bit on choosing sheets and that type of thing, and that was a video that was made quite a long time ago. But I wanted to show the thought process that went into it and coming up with the finished product. Now there's as many thought processes that per person, you might each have 1,000 of them. But this is my thought process for some things that might add, especially to some newer viewers or people that enjoy making things but maybe really only follow one direction, and maybe you're looking for some other thoughts involved to help with your creativity. So I wanted to talk about 3 rugs that I happen to all be making at the same time. So they're being made at the same time. I thought these are perfect rugs to be used because they were all different. And yet very similar in other aspects. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This first rug, Lyle's making it. This is his first rug. He's doing it because I'm getting ready to go on a trip, and he's going to have to be the one helping me, or sometimes I have someone else help me because I give a lot of personalized attention in my classes. Other than teaching the whole class, I'm also teaching individually as people need it. So Lyle will be my assistant, and he's wanting to make sure that he's able to help. So on this rug, this is done with a 16 millimeter hook, one of my 16 millimeter hooks. But what I want to talk about this rug is that this has all these different blues. So if you're going to be, when you're using sheet yarn, or you're using t-shirts or something like that, sheet yarn at this point in my life is my preference. I don't use a lot of materials or other things like that. I use mostly sheet yarn. You could use recycled clothing or whatnot. But to find the exact color that you're looking for or wanting, that's just, you kind of got to do it as you come along, as you're going to places and finding things. You've got to pick up things that you like, that you think might add interest. You've got to find them at the thrift stores or at the yard sales, or when friends donate things to help you to get rid of some stuff. But what I wanted to show you is, look at the blues that are involved in this. So we have this like baby blue stripe here, and then you have a little bit more, maybe like a corn silk blue here. So they're not exactly the same. And then you've got this, which I'm not crazy about this sheet, to be very honest, but I thought it would add some interest when I picked it up. So this adds some interest. It had some different blues. It kind of changes it up and makes it not quite as subtle. And then when Lyle was picking, I said, I went in there and I had a partial sheet of this blue, and I thought, let's go ahead and add that, because then this rug becomes more versatile. And so the versatility of either using it in your own home or giving it as a gift, when you have got all these different blues, it doesn't have to match the exact blue, because some people might really only focus on one type of blue in their room. So the versatility of a rug like this with these blues and these colors, it could fit in many rooms. Those of you who like to sell your products that you make, this would also give it more versatility for sales, because if someone likes blue, it would probably work in a lot of instances. You could put it with navies, you could put it with all kinds of other things, the soft colors, whatever. So here's something that's a very versatile rug. It's not super thin, but it's not a real thick one either. So it's a nice comfy one to sit in front of a sink or in a bathroom to step out onto, or something like that. So this is one rug that was made with a 16 millimeter hook, and the sheet yarn for this rug was 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches. They were kind of flexing back and forth. Some of you want to always have it the same amount, but what if the sheet is thin or thick? You need to make adjustments for that to kind of keep the same amount of thickness. And remember, it's a rag rug. It doesn't have to be all perfect, at least not in my book. Okay, let's move on just a little bit. So this is the one, I did finish this one. When I did the blog, I was just working on it. I decided to go ahead and finish it. This was used with a 12 millimeter hook, and I'm working on this too. This is one of my reclaimed hooks. So this is a little smaller. It's not as small as like a 10 or 11, but it's a 12 millimeter, and it's one that I keep in my lineup that I use all the time. This is a lower profile rug, which means it sits lower to the ground. Okay, so when something sits lower to the ground, it's less likely to get your feet tripped on. So if you're an older person or you don't pick up your feet, or it's going to go in a high trafficked area. When I talk about low profile rugs, I inevitably get someone who says, what does that mean, a low profile rug? That just means it's going to be a little lower to the ground. And so, like my mother, that's all she wants in her house. When I give her something, she doesn't want a big, squishy, beautiful rug. She likes something that can be used that she's not going to trip over, or they're to high traffic areas. Okay, the versatility of a hook in a rug like this. First of all, I used probably 1 1/4 inch to 2 1/4 inches was used with that 12 millimeter hook. This was odds and ends, just odds and ends. I tried to stick with very pastel-y or very subdued colors with just a little bit of pop. Particularly, I added a little pop here and there, but I was trying to get something, again, very versatile. The very versatile rugs, these scrappy rugs, this is what drew me to rag rugging to begin with. And then more and more, because it seemed like people wanted a more set design like the first rug that had more like kind of uniformity. I started doing more of that because it seemed like more people were interested. But I have to admit, these are the type of rugs I prefer the most. I still like and enjoy making those other rugs, but a rug like this is very versatile. It can go in many rooms. It can be used by many people. Again, for a gift in your own home or to sell. So this would be a low profile rug. That's something else that you can discuss with people when they're looking at your rugs. If you do different things, and if people are selling, you are selling. Another thing, when I give a gift of a rug, and you may consider this, if you like to give, largest part of mine are given as gifts, to be honest with you. In a lot of instances, I will give people a choice. I'll pick out 2 or 3 or 4 rugs, and I'll say, I would like to, you seemed interested, and I'd like to share a rug with you. Do any of these appeal to you? Are any of these going to work for you? And I think people really enjoy, because where they might want to put that rug might not have been the rug that you actually give it, because you didn't even consider that would have been a place. So that's kind of a fun thing if you can do that. But it's not always the way it's going to work out. I kind of let people choose a little bit, and that's kind of fun for people. Again, a very versatile rug, just like the first one. Just the first one focused more on a particular color. This one is just more versatile in general. Then we're going to go on to a 2-ply rug, and this one I didn't finish, and I'm not going to finish because I've got a couple classes going on. So I went to a class, and this rug was not finished, and I brought it. I tried different things at classes to see how it's going to work with people, and a lot of people couldn't put their minds around what's a 2-ply rug, and so I'm going to leave it unfinished, because you can see that means there's 2 different sheet yarns being used at one time. I've got a video on 2-ply, and also the confetti rag rug is a 2-ply rug, and so you may want to view those if you're interested. Now, the difference between that and the other 2 rugs that I've already spoken about, this is a thicker rug. So this is thicker than the 16 millimeter. It's thick. It's really cushy. So some people just fall in love with this really cushy kind of rug, and they're not interested in these low ones. That just doesn't interest them. And then I have other people at classes, and that's what they're focused on. They want to learn how to do these lower profile rugs, because that's going to work for them. So in using a bigger hook, like this is a 22 millimeter, and this is the first hook I made, was the 22 millimeters, because you couldn't find anything even close to something that could handle this, that was long enough that you could readily use it. But this rug, I've talked about this before when I talk about my 2-ply rug. The good thing about this 2-ply rug that you can do is, again, you can use up all different colors, and it is a version of this scrappy rug, but I did use some uniformity as far as when I transition colors. This has got more blue, then I kind of go with more of a white, and then even here I pop in this red that I'm not a real fan of, this particular red. But in this instance, I think it's fantastic. And since I had done a red here, again, I'm not crazy about this little print. It doesn't do anything for me. However, when it proceeded and came after this red, it kind of just transitioned out. And I'm using scraps of this and that. And here you can see how thin this is. This is a kind of a thin material. It's just the end of something. It doesn't look so good. This is a leopard print, and this one's not too wide. So in this rug, I will use 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, maybe even a 2 inch, possibly if it's very thin. And I mix them together, but I go with a little bit smaller to add this interest. So you've got, again, a very varied rug that could be used in a lot of different rooms, in a lot of different situations. Lots of people could like this type of a rug. These are just some different thoughts going into what you can achieve and still make your rugs versatile. Some of you really focus on certain colors, and that may be exactly what you're looking for. But if you don't have a specific person that's going to, or a specific place, I feel like sometimes that really limits. You know, you make these beautiful pinks and pastels and things like that. And if you have a place for that, or a person that's going to, then that's great. But those pastels are going to be very specific and are not going to fit in lots of rooms. So even though someone say that is beautiful and truly believe it's beautiful, it may not work for them. So these are different thoughts about how to keep your rugs versatile, the thoughts that go into it, the ways of achieving different looks. And oh, one more thing that I didn't mention in my blog, and someone talked about it when they saw it, which had a good eye. Something you can do with any of these rugs. Here I've got, this is the regular single crochet. These are both just regular single crochet. And they go into the hole, and there you go. This one I added rings of in the back stitch, still a single crochet, and I don't know, Lala, if you can come up here and see. This is just the regular single crochet, and then this one shows how to go. This is in the back stitch, and so it kind of swirls, adds a little interest. I went back to the regular single crochet, and again started swirling again by going in the back stitch or the back bar. I have a video that shows exactly how to do that. It's super easy. You're gonna say, wow, I had no idea it's that easy. But that's another way to just add interest to your rug, but still keeping it versatile. So thank you, subscribe, and come back next time.